We knew it was coming, but it's finally happened. Tuukka Rask has returned to the Boston Bruins on a one-year, $1 million prorated contract for the rest of this season. We'll discuss the details coming right up. Hey everybody, so Tuukka Rask is back. We all knew that this was coming. It was only a matter of time. He's been practicing with the Bruins. Everybody knew that he wanted to stay in Boston. It seemed like only just a matter of time before Rask returned, and he did. Coming off of off-season hip surgery after the playoffs last year, he wasn't going to be ready for the first part of the season anyway. But he's been back on the ice, he's been back practicing, and now he is officially back on a one-year prorated contract for the rest of this season with the Boston Bruins worth $1 million. So obviously this kind of complicates things a little bit for the Bruins in their goaltending situation where they already have Jeremy Swayman and Linus Ullmark both having very solid seasons this year in goal. Now you add Tuukka Rask into the mix there as well. So, first off, I want to say this. There is no such thing as too much depth. So, the Bruins are basically going to have three goaltenders now. We'll see what they decide to do with Swayman because he's still on his ELC. They could send him down freely without having to worry about waivers or anything like that. Or they could carry all three goaltenders and maybe send an extra forward down or whatever. There's options here now for the Bruins, but the point is they now have the organizational depth in goal where they have three NHL caliber goaltenders. Now that's important, especially this day and age with COVID and with games being played, with all these postponements, they're going to be playing a ton of games in a short period of time at the end of the season. And there's no such thing as too much depth. We talk about it, especially when it comes to the playoffs, teams being too thin at a certain position or one injury away from, losing one player is going to ruin their whole year. Depth is one of the most important things in hockey and in the NHL. So this just adds to the Bruins' depth in goal. And this is not a knock on Jeremy Swayman or Linus Ullmark either, because they've both had very solid seasons in goal for the Bruins this year, and I honestly don't think that goaltending has been a problem for the Bruins this year. This is just adding in more depth, another veteran guy, a guy who's obviously been the backbone of this team in goal for the past, almost decade now. And it just gives them more of that security in goal heading into the playoffs for what they hope to be a playoff run. But if we look at what Swayman and Ullmark have done, Ullmark has 11 wins with a .917 save percentage this year, 2.57 goals against. He's been very solid. Swayman has 8 wins with a 2.26 goals against and a .918 save percentage. Ullmark and Swayman have both put up very solid numbers this year. This is not a knock on either of those guys. And again, Boston is just adding in Rask now to the mix, and we're going to see how they're going to balance all three of these guys for the remainder of the year. I think there's a good chance that Swayman gets AHL games just to keep him playing and keep him in the fold, and that Rask and Ullmark kind of become your NHL guys, but they could carry all three potentially. I wouldn't be overly surprised if Boston worked all three of these goalies in throughout the rest of the year. And I think, with some of the guys that they have up front that they could possibly send down for that extra roster spot, it wouldn't be a big deal for the Bruins to carry three goaltenders. So that's an option for them as well. But anyway, Rask is back. We knew this was coming. And it's just another guy who's been a really good goaltender throughout his career added to the Bruins net. And again, he's been practicing. He's recovering from this injury. He's going to be ready to go soon. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see how the Bruins handle these three guys now. But all in all, we kind of knew this was coming, and this was very much expected. It's just now finally actually happened. The other thing is people have been talking about the Bruins moving one of, Ullmark or, moving one of their current goaltenders. I really do not think that is going to happen because I fully believe that this is one final run for Tuukka Rask. This is the thing that, I've believed now since the end of last season is that if he were to come back, that this would be it. And I think that that's why he took such a small, cheap contract. You know, he's obviously a better goaltender than worth $1 million a year. But he wanted to stay in Boston. He wanted it to be with the team that he played his entire career with. He didn't want to have to move his family. And I really think that this is one final ride for Tuukka, that he's going to come back for the rest of the season, these playoffs. He's going to make one final run at it with the Bruins, and then that's going to be it. I actually thought he might retire after the bubble back in 2020. Obviously didn't end up happening. Then he got injured and, had to recover from this surgery from this past offseason. Thought there was a chance that he wasn't going to come back, but obviously he is coming back now. I think this is the swan song for Tuukka Rask. People have been talking about them trading Ullmark and then it being a Rask-Swayman tandem for the next few years. I don't think there's going to be a next few years. I think this is the final run for Tuukka, and he's going to be done after this season. And then I think Ullmark is here to be that transitional goalie between Tuukka Rask and when Jeremy Swayman is hopefully able to be the franchise guy and take over the reins as the number one, top goaltender for the Bruins. Ullmark is here to be that transition piece, and they're not going to just get rid of that. They're not just going to trade him away. So I do not expect any goaltenders leaving the Boston Bruins. I expect, all of these guys to remain Bruins. And again, I really think that this is the one last hurrah for Tuukka Rask. He's going to play the rest of this year, try and make a run in the playoffs. Whatever happens, happens, and that he's probably going to be retiring after this season. And then it will be an Ullmark-Swayman tandem going forward. And then obviously the hope in Boston is that Jeremy Swayman becomes a franchise number one goaltender who becomes the top dog for the Bruins down the line. And obviously that's off in the future now. But Tuukka Rask is back. Well, the Bruins have some decisions to make now as far as how they're going to manage these three goaltenders, but I do not expect any of them to be moved out. I think they're going to keep all three. They have the option of carrying three goaltenders if they can open up that roster spot. They also have the option of sending Swayman down to the AHL and just keeping him in action and keeping him playing until they need him. But it's never a bad thing to have three goaltenders this day and age. It's never a bad thing to have depth, especially with the uncertainty of COVID and, when guys might be available and when guys might not. And obviously the injury risk as well. There's always a chance a goaltender could get hurt, and you want to have that third guy there who can come in and fill in and do a good job. So Rask is back in Boston. It was completely 100% expected, but now it's officially finally happened. 1 year, $1 million, prorated contract just for the rest of this season. And again, I truly feel like this is the one last hurrah for Tuukka Rask, and that this is his one last chance to make a run. And he's probably going to be done after this season, but I don't know that for sure. That's just my opinion. But with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, links to our merchandise store, memberships, and donation links are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys soon.